G'day crew. Check that out, eh? I reckon it looks alright. Watch the video and see how we got there. The trials and tribulations. It didn't all go smoothly. Well, what a day. Bit of cloud cover, but it is beautiful. I have decided it's time to paint the Datsun. Okay, I think it's all systems go. I didn't show you, but I wiped the entire car down with glass cleaner to get off general grime, and then I've gone over the whole car with wax and grease remover to get off mainly oils from my fingers. And I paid particular attention to anywhere where I'd been masking up around, because that's the areas that I will have been touching the most. I try not to touch the car if I can avoid it in any other place, but sometimes you do. But where the masking tape is, I've intentionally gone around and given that a good clean. You'll see I got brand new gloves on. I always try to wear these for the same reasons that I just said, all been mentioned in previous videos. So just wax and grease remover, brand new microfiber cloth, and the same with my glass cleaner, brand new microfiber cloth. These are cheap, I can wash them or throw them out. I like to wash them. As I said earlier, whole car is done. I write the price on the top of things. It's so that if you see it in the background, you can see what that is in Australian dollars. Sorry, it doesn't mean anything to anyone in any other countries. But also so that I can remember how much it is, because I haven't got a photographic memory, and yeah. So I've gone through, given it all a clean. Shortly, I'm going to go through and give it a spray in all of those rub through areas, like I've said previously, with this 1K rub through primer. Good stuff. I'm going to do that after I let that flash off for a while, 15-20 minutes. I will go through with my tack cloth, which I will air out in the first place just to let it breathe a bit. And what that will do, I'll tack off the whole car, but what I've found from experience is that when I rub over the rub through primer, with this, it denibs it, so it takes off the little rough bits. Rather than sand it, it actually takes it back to a prepared surface. Now this is wet on wet. I'm going to be painting the primer. Pretty much immediately afterwards, I'm going to be painting the paint over the top of it, which you're about to see the colour. I hope you like it. So yeah, if I let this stuff dry for more than 24 hours, have to sand it back and so on. I'm not doing that because I don't want to have to sand, create dust, everything I've been through before. If you've seen the previous videos, I'm not going to recreate it. This is my paint. In a little while, the colour will be revealed. I've got 2 litres of it, should be heaps. It's a 4:1. I'm using that on my paint, single stage 2K, so in other words, it's not base coat with clear. This is colour straight off the gun, like the roof. So paint this on, as long as the painted surface is okay, walk away from it. Yeah, I guess you can go through and sand it down and all that sort of stuff. I probably won't because it's not to my level of experience, but we'll see. 200 bucks for that tin. I'm using the appropriate hardener for that. Haven't got the price on there, I'm sorry. Actually, it comes with the paint, so it is a package deal, I think. Could be wrong. So the hardener, this is a fast hardener because it's still quite cool weather. Fast, medium, slow, depending on the weather. Got my gun set up. I've got this stand, which I've had for a while, but I've actually mounted it to this board. And you'll see me using that when I'm putting the paint in. So first things first, I'm going to suit up and I'm going to have a respirator. I'm going to set my air to 32 PSI, and I've replaced the gauge. It broke previously. And I've drained the air, the moisture out of the traps, the one on the compressor and the one on my stand where I have my regulator for the air pressure. And I have a moisture trap on my gun also. I'll set the gun up, wide fan, just check it all out and then I'll go. I'm going to nip around, spray this on, and then we'll mix the paint. That should allow this to flash off, get the suit on. And I'm also going to put my extraction fan in the door over here so it draws the overspray across. I don't think there's much more I can do. I'll probably forget something, but we'll see. Okay, love it or hate it, this is our colour. It is called, what's it called? Flummery. It's a yellow. It's a satin. I got the inspiration for this paint scheme, for the colours, from Paper to Pavement. If you're not familiar with his stuff, he does some pretty cool stuff. He's actually an upholstery trimmer, but he just builds some really wicked cars and bikes and really weird stuff. But he built this car that he calls the Banana Hammock, and while this isn't the exact colours, I took a photo of his car. It's a little Nash Metropolitan. I think he's American or Canadian. I took a picture of his car along to my paint shop, and he pulled out a paint chart and pretty much pointed to two colours, this and the white, and seriously got it so close, I believe, that I didn't even, it took me about 2 minutes to decide on the colour after I took the picture there, which I've spent an hour sometimes. I haven't said before, I'm actually colourblind, but I can see tones, and it's about the tones for me, and he pulled this stuff out. He wasn't colourblind, I can see tones, I'm pretty happy with it. But I reckon this colour is going to look fantastic on that Datsun. We'll find out soon enough. Let me know what you think. Wrong decision? Righto, got my extraction fan going, pretty professional looking setup to draw the overspray across. Got my paint in my gun, ready to go. I was going to mix 2 pots, but I'm just doing one in the first place. I'll need more than one, I'm sure, but I've still got quite a few panels that I still need to paint. Doors, tailgate and bonnet, so we'll see. I've just gone through and tack clothed the car off and denibbed that spot spray, as I said. Got my mask on the ready, just there. I'm kitted up in my Australian breakdance team uniform, and I've now named my spray gun Ray Gun. If that means something to you, get a laugh, I hope. Okay, so the next time you see me, I'm going to be masked up, kitted up, and putting down some colour. So let's do this.
Well, once again, hopefully you can hear me okay, because I've got my mask on. It's pretty fumy in here, and I've got the fan running in the background there, trying to extract the overspray. Well, I've got to say, first impressions, I really like the colour. Second impressions, I've got paint runs everywhere, and some pretty bad ones. So I ran out of paint on my first pot. I literally had an area about the size of a dinner plate that I needed to do on the other side of the car. So I mixed up a whole pot. And then when I've gone around and looked at the car, I can see a bunch of paint runs and drips. It is what it is. So my plan is I'm going to let those areas dry, and I'll sand them and I'll paint them again. That's okay. I've got to paint other things anyway, so look, it's a learning experience. It is what it is. I'm obviously just putting it on way too wet. Other areas not too bad. There's some little imperfections and so on in the bodywork that are showing through, but overall I think it looks 1,000,000% better than it did. Let's look at these savage paint runs. So this one here, just behind the driver's door, and over here, pretty major. Down here. Surprisingly, none on the front of it that I can see. There's a build up here where it's dripping off the guard. A little bit here on the top lip of the guard. There's a fair bit. I can see a build up here in the door jamb. Not so concerned about that one. This is where I ran out of paint. Yeah, so I can see, you probably can't see it, there's one just there. And there's one here that continues around here. And one across the back. Oh, there's one there. There's one there. Look, too wet, obviously. I'm not a painter, as I said it. I'm learning from it. I'll be able to fix it. So I go with this mask off.
Okay, the air quality is probably similar to some capital cities at the moment. But look, overall, I like it. I like the white, I like the yellow, I think it looks great. What do I do next? I've got to make a decision on the run. Okay, that's what it is. The areas where there's paint runs, I'm not going to put a second coat on. So I'm going to paint above that line. I might even paint behind here. Door jambs, I think I'm going to... No, I don't know. I'll work that out. Might do more on this guard because it's not running yet. Across the front, there's a bit of dust and crap in there. Across the front here, I'll give that a bit. I'll give it more. So really what it comes down to, what I'm getting at, is where I haven't got paint runs, I'm going to see if I can add some new ones. No, I'll go through and I'll put on... I see I'm a little bit thin just here anyway. So, look, the greater majority of the car, I can put a second coat on, but then there's particular areas where I'm going to have to go over and respray. So what I think is going to be the plan here is I'll get it on there, I'll avoid the areas where there's runs, I'll let it harden up, set, cure, do all that sort of stuff, and then I'll come back over it with probably a Scotch Brite, and just, after it's dried obviously, and flatten the entire surface out. And I will probably give the entire car another coat. If I don't do that, I'll give the areas where I have to do correction work, where there's paint runs, I'll give that a second coat. I think it's only going to get 2 coats. It's covered really well. So that is what it is. Annoying, yes. Life goes on. It's all about the fun and games of it, isn't it? As you can see, I've still got to do the bonnet, doors, and the tailgate. So I've got plenty more places to get paint runs. But once again, I reckon it looks great.
Okay, well,
I've just come outside so I can breathe. Nice mark in my beard. So yeah, I've just put a second coat down. I've got to be honest, I'm really second guessing myself. the first time I thought I was doing well, and obviously I wasn't. So the second time I've gone on really light, and my concern is that I've gone on too light and it's going to end up with dry patches. We'll see. I don't know, we'll see. I actually waited quite a while between coats. Would have been probably a good 40-45 minutes, which I think is longer than is what's intended. I actually can't find the flash times on the technical data sheets. I thought I had previously, but not. So anyway, I went in light. I'm not going to be surprised if it's dry, like if it has a dry effect. If it does, then it is what it is. I did the whole thing, even the areas with the paint runs, but very carefully because that was still quite damp, and I obviously have concerns, and there is the likelihood that I'm going to get fry up with solvent fry up underneath because it's too thick. Basically I should have gone on with a very thin mist coat. I know this, and kicking myself in hindsight. Should have gone on with a sort of a lighter coat in the first place, let that flash off, then put the second coat on. The first coat would have stuck to the second coat, the second coat would have stuck to the first coat better, stop it running, etc, etc. Didn't do that, so it is what it is. So let's see. I've still got a bit of paint in the gun. I don't know whether I'm going to chance a third coat on some areas. Some areas look good. So we'll see. But I did learn a trick. Apparently if you put your paint in the freezer, in a Tupperware container or something, it'll last, because people use it for touch-ups and so on. Apparently because it can't go off because it's too cold. We'll see. I think I'll do that if I've got any left over, just as a test. Anyway, look, I take it for what it is. If I've made mistakes, I've made mistakes. If I learn something from it, great. If you learn something from it, even better, quite frankly. Let me make the mistakes, you learn from that. I'm out here because I don't want to suffocate in there. Still got my fan working in the background here, my vent fan. Seems to do a pretty good job. I'm probably painting everything outside here yellow. It's good enough. So yeah, just while I'm waiting for that to flash off, I'll go and wash my guns up. Not my guns, wash up my pots and stuff like that. And then we'll see how this paint comes up. But if I didn't say it already, once it's dry, I'll go through and I'll sand down those areas. I might try and, what do they call it, paint correct it, do paint correction. Maybe I can learn a skill there, sanding it down with a fine paper, and maybe it'll just disappear. Or if not, then I'll sand it down and I'll put another coat of paint on it. But we'll see. Let's do a quick reveal, see what she looks like. The colour doesn't look anything like that in real, by the way. I like it. Doesn't she look pretty? Look at that ugly engine bay. It'll just never do. It's got to be cleaned up. Okay, so unmasked it. Happy with the way it unmasked. No issues, nothing that came up. The paint is getting that satin finish as it dries. I ended up going through doing 3 coats on most of it. There was a couple of parts I didn't do the door jambs, didn't do 3 coats on the door jambs, but I did on pretty much everything else. Even the parts where the runs were. I'm going to do paint correction. Don't know how to do it. Know you can do it. I'll sand it back through the various grits, and I may have to go through and do more of the car than just the runs, because when I sand it, no doubt it'll come up smoother than the paint. I have to say that the second coat I was a bit concerned about orange peel. This was actually really good after the first coat, as were other bits. And then when I put the second coat on, I end up with some orange peel through here. And I thought, well, that won't do. So I just took a chance, and after flash on the second coat, I gave it a third coat. and I've managed to lay it down better. There's a bit of orange peel, but it's not too bad. Now, as I look at it, there's little body imperfections, and obviously the paint runs, little body imperfections and stuff, but yeah, overall, I love it. I think it looks great. There's a couple of little custom features I've got up my sleeve, which I will share with you when the time is right. Look at that ugly engine bay, if I didn't say that before. But yeah, so you can see, got where the two colours meet through here. As I said, the interior probably got to remain white. I'll clean it up as best I can. A little bit of paint drift through here. There must have just been a little gap in my masking somewhere and it's just gone through. That should just rub off pretty easily. Painted the hinges. I'll do the inside of the tailgate in the roof colour, I think. Might do the bottom yellow, might not, we'll see. And I think it looks great. Love to know your opinion. I better unmask the tailpipe. Love to know your opinion. I am going to paint all underneath it black. It will have wheels and not those ones. And yeah, just a couple of little tricks, but little tricky bits. Let me know what you reckon I should do to it. I'm open to ideas. I'm not precious about these things. Anyway, we'll call that here, I think.